together. They look the same. Obviously, one is black and one is sort of speckly. It's an absolutely glorious color. You can see how saturated it is. It's really... and it works at some really beautiful sizes, right? Hi, I'm Paul Antonio, and welcome to the Calligraphy Masters channel. So we'll start with this range, which is the black range. And in the black range, we have the narrow, medium, the large. The large, as you can see, is absolutely massive. And the tips are different from each other. You can really see that difference. And I'm not pressing really hard on them. I'm just being quite gentle with them. So they do some great work. I really love writing with the Cambio brush pens. In fact, when I write on my binding template boxes for people who purchase them, I tend to use one of those because, you know, I can get really big letters for their names. You know, obviously I'm writing the first name. This is the vermilion one, which came out fairly soon after. I love this color because, of course, Kuretake also has they sell this in a pot. It's an absolutely glorious color. You can see how saturated it is. It's really beautiful. It has great coverage. It's such a wonderful color. And it is the medium size of the Cambio brush pen. Of course, some of the other colors have this red, blue, yellow, brown. I think there are a couple other colors, but I don't have them to hand. So again, you can see that these are filamented brush pens, and they work in this really wonderful range of color. I mean, oh my gosh, that orange is just so lovely. And of course, all of these brush pens have Japanese names. They are all called fude, because fude, F-U-D-E, means brush. So the fude pen, the brush pen, they tend to have numbers. As we get into the different types of brush pens, you'll find that we really need to work with their numbers because the Japanese names can be a little bit confusing sometimes. And obviously with the brush writer, I showed you that they were brush writer. They were Fude brush 60 and 61. The next brush pen we're going to look at is the Untitled Chapter brush pen, which is the number 55. This is the 55. It's a lovely little brush pen. Of course, I have large hands. It fits quite nicely in my hand. It's a spongy tip, and the size of the tip really should give you a letter this wide. But when you're holding it at 45 degrees, that's what you get. A little bit lower, that's what you get. So don't press on this too much, it could damage the way that the tip works. On the flip side, we have a much smaller spongy tip, and it is a lot more flexible. And it's very sharp, so it works really well at about 8 mil down to 4 millimeters. Really nice brush. And then we go into sort of a really good range they have called the Fudogogoki, which is like a normal pen. And it's nice and small, really good flexibility. It has beautiful movement, very fine. It's really lovely to write with. And notice I'm writing on the side. So it works really well for playful brush script. Some good modern calligraphy, as well as some copyright script. I mean, obviously, you can use it to hand lettering. It's so fine, you can go back in and it's absolutely wonderful hatching. So this comes in a great little set of 4 colors: green, black, blue, and brown. So we next have the Kuretake brush pen, and of course, these also come in a filamented tip. You should see them together. They look the same. Obviously, one is black and one is sort of speckly. The black one is a spongy tip. But it's a very fine spongy tip. And the filamented tip is absolutely massive. So I think I've used out the cartridge for this one. So these have I've definitely used out the cartridge for this one. So these come with, you can buy refills for the cartridges, but let me just show you the size of that filament. So it's sort of a larger filamented tip. Need to leave that out, fill that in. Okay, so we have a couple other variations, and that is the number 7 and number 8 Fude brush pen. So that's these 3. Now, these 2 are essentially the same. One is pigmented ink and one is dye-based ink. And this is a spongy tip. So this is the 7. So this spongy tip is quite flexible, and it works at some really beautiful sizes. And I love this brush pen because it feels like a brush. Nice and long, and of course I normally put the cap on the back. Of course, make sure you line up the little ridge with the lettering because, you know, you have to. And then the Fude 8 pigmented and dye-based inks, they are the same. Those are the same tips there. Let's zoom in there. And they are absolutely beautiful to write with. Of course, you can use them on their side. Excellent coverage. They are super fine. So because of the size of the tip, and I did say to Kuretake once, you can't walk around with these, they look like eyeliner.